Hey, Sheree. Let me do it. Can I do it real quick?
You live on YouTube as well.
That's all right. We gotta fix it. We're gonna figure this out. We having some technical difficulties, but we're gonna be fine.
Let's get you what you need. See store for restrictions and details.
So all I need for you to do is to sit it, and I'll tell you when it gets all of us. Can you sit this over there, and I'll tell it when you get all of us?
Parents can have the best of both worlds. Not only do our loans cover up to 100%.
Well, you know what? I'll just do that, and I'll just put it to whoever's talking at the time.
Each new student
That
loan
way I can control it.
3.0 GPA or
So anyway, I need for y'all to listen because we're talking real talk. I'm telling it, and as I've told the people in H.I.S.D, if you don't do it, I won't tell it. But if you do it, I'ma tell it. So the next person who's coming up is Chris. Why is this upside down? Okay, we're fixing it, y'all. Work with me. Okay, there. Thank Paula.
We got Arnett on the phone.
Arnett. Okay, Arnett.
Arnetta.
Arnett.
Arnetta.
Arnetta. Okay, just tell me when.
Whenever you're ready to take it, she's on right here.
After the radio goes off?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna take some live callers, so you guys call in. I'm gonna have to get the number for you guys to call in. 832 230
5592.
5592. It might be good if you put it right there so that we just know it. So I want interaction from the public. Because I'ma tell it, I want you to tell it. That's what I want you to do. I want you to go to Facebook at KYND Radio, Twitter at KYND Radio. Lord, I can't see. Instagram at KYND_radio, Snapchat KYND 1520, YouTube KYND TV, and what is this last one? It's P. What's the P, y'all? I'm gonna have to learn that, huh? Okay, so I'm coming back. Again, the number to call in is 832-230-5592. So I'm back, and so now we're gonna talk to people who work for HISD, some of whom are starving. They've got to work extra jobs. How on earth, Chris, can you have a degree from college, be at your job for 10 years, show up and help our kids, and you got to work a second job? Can you tell people what you're not able to do and how you don't get support at HISD, and how the budget, with the budget resource allocation, didn't address those needs? Because you guys have asked for a 5% raise because HISD teachers are like almost last in this area.
Well, and if I could just put that into context so that your listeners know. So as a tenured teacher, I make $54,000 a year. Last year, I was making $54,000 per year. So because the district chose to readjust the salary schedule, teachers did not receive a pay increase this year.
And you have to pay more in insurance.
But as we know, our insurance costs went up. Everybody knows that your cost of living expenses, whether it's your rent, whether it's the cost of goods, go up every year. So if you don't receive a pay increase, that means essentially you're making less money from year to year. And when you have board members, for example, that want to see more AP courses being taught in their schools,
In the schools with connected people.
Which I totally agree with. We should have more AP offerings in all of our schools. But let's be frank, teaching an AP course is incredibly difficult. It takes an incredible amount of time and effort. And if you're not going to adequately compensate teachers, you're going to have less teachers interested in taking on those more difficult courses that could really help and provide a positive impact for our students. Now, to frame this so that you guys can understand what the differences are, for a lot of teachers that are highly motivated, highly educated, HISD is not the only game in town. We've got several surrounding school districts that are vying for the best teachers in Houston. So if I could give you guys a couple of examples. H.I.S.D, a much smaller school district, much less challenging population. Teachers with my same level of experience make $1,000 more than I do per year. A colleague of mine who teaches in elementary school went to Fort Bend this past year. She was a great elementary school teacher in HISD. She was making $54,000 a year like I was, 10 years of experience. When she got to Fort Bend, she was offered a position of mentor teacher. So she's still a teacher in a classroom, But her base salary at Fort Bend for 10 years of experience, remember mine is 54, $58,000 a year.
So-
58,000 is the base salary, but she was offered a mentor teacher position that gave her a $9,000 per year stipend. And hold on, she was a mentor teacher, making an extra $9,000, did a fantastic job in Fort Bend. So they offered her a master position teacher. And now she makes, on top of her $58,000 a year, $15,000 per year stipend in addition to that. So my salary is $54,000. Her salary is $73,000 per year in Fort Bend.
And-
So when
and
we
not-
see those kind of discrepancies between our community districts, it's no wonder H.I.S.D is finding it harder and harder to get talented teachers to want to teach in this district.
Right, exactly. And we have a very challenging population, so we need experienced teachers to
Exactly.
help our kids.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get to Arnetta. We're gonna go to Arnetta, then I'm gonna come back with Retha Thomas, the president of the Support Staff Union, and one of her members. And I want for you to hear this story, because this story doesn't make any sense. You have people working full-time jobs who are poor or below the poverty level. But yeah, Arnetta, how are you? Yes, ma'am. Well, at the end of the day, here's the deal. The very wealthy parents and who get into these schools, and the minorities, because they can't have the school be all white, right? They can't do that. They can't pass that. So they let in some black folks and some Hispanic folks, and generally they're the connected ones, or the super smart ones, so that they can say they truly are integrated, which they're not. So you've got the white parents advocating for their kids. You've got the black folks and the brown folks who are connected enough or earn their way into the schools. They want to keep the system that it is because their kids are benefiting. And so you have the people who are poor, maybe, if the kids grew up like me, my mom was working, she had to work overtime in order to keep a roof over our head when we weren't getting evicted, or we didn't have lights, or we didn't have water. My mother didn't even have gas money to come to my sports, right? So the people that are struggling, first of all, they work in 2 and 3 jobs. Hell, we know our teachers are working at least 2 jobs, right? And then we have poor people working jobs. They don't have gas money. The board is set up such that we absolutely disrespect the public. And when they say uncomfortable things and tell the truth, they shut them down. And we'll get back to Ben on a second on that, because they are notorious for trying to shut him up, except for he ain't got nothing better to do than advocate for all kids. And he's smarter than most of them. That's just the truth. He knows the stats better than they do. And so you guys are going to have to send emails and come, because the board only pays attention to 2 types of people. This is all elected officials. They pay attention to people with money, who they know vote or who can contribute against them or contribute to them, and they pay attention to organized poor people who actually vote, right? So if you're not an organized poor person, they're not going to pay any attention to you, because then they're going to come to your neighborhoods and say, we fighting for you, and we really ain't. And for the record, I know ain't is not proper English, so I'm speaking Ebonics, and I know I'm speaking Ebonics, but I'm saying it for a fact. And we have people on the board that don't even know when they're speaking Ebonics, because they think it's the Queen's English. Let me go to Retha real quick. She's the president of H.I.S.D, the Educational Support Union, and she's going to say something. We've got 2 minutes until we go to commercial again. And so anyway, Retha, I want for people to see you. Can you tell people what you've been fighting for?
Well, we've been fighting for a living wage for our support personnel, this consists of bus drivers and custodians and food service employees. These employees make, some make less than $13,000 a year.
They work, and let me be clear. They work full-time jobs, y'all. Full-time jobs, and make less than $13,000 a year. Go ahead, Rita.
And then, and the bad part about it, in the summer, like right now, they don't work in the summertime, so they really scrapping from penny to penny. We have our bus drivers and our food service. They out for 3 months without pay, and then when it comes down for them to apply for food stamps, it takes 3 months for the system to get them food stamps set up.
And let me say this, Retha, because we got to go to commercial. We're gonna come back to you. But I'm really trying to understand. I'm really trying to understand how you can work for a school district that has a $2 billion budget, and you can work a full-time job, either feeding our children, getting our children to and from school, or keeping the schools clean so our kids aren't in filth, and they have to apply for food stamps. You know what? We gonna go to commercial, cause this don't make no sense. That's why we all telling it, because we need for you, the listeners, to put pressure on H.I.S.D. because you guys are probably working very hard and don't know what's going on. So I'm bringing it to you, and we're gonna figure out a way to let them know that we are watching them. And there are a number of school board members who are up for re-election this year in November, and if they don't vote for the right things for all of our kids and for our workers, we need to vote them out of office. But we'll be back after commercial.
They know that we is one poor organized group.
So on my Facebook Live, so I cannot wait for you guys to meet Sybil. This is Sybil. Her story is heart-wrenching. And but you're gonna be so inspired by her. She is so inspiring. She is so motivated for our kids. And we are wrong for treating her like we treat her. So we're gonna talk about this because H.I.S.D. makes it very uncomfortable and disrespectful for regular people to come to the board. Our board members will talk about all kind of frou-frou stuff, give each other awards, give connected people awards, pimp some of our kids who are doing well to make it seem like we doing stuff for our kids when the majority, it's the truth. It's the truth. They the pimps and they're, I mean, y'all know what pimps do.
Yeah.
And they are pimping our kids and pretending like they're fighting by. And yes, I said it, and I'm gonna say it again. Truth is an absolute defense to libel, slander, and defamation.
Well, you know, if I just could, Sybil, right?
Yes.
I, first of all, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I watched the video of the board meeting yesterday, and you said something there that I thought really got to the core of this issue in a lot of ways. You said, how can we expect the adults to take care of our children when they can't even take care of themselves? And I thought, to me, that cut through so much of the noise, because when you have adults who have anxiety, who have difficulties at home, who can't pay their bills, who can't provide quality health care, how can we expect them to come in then and be positive role models for our students when they're
In distress.
in distress at home? Exactly. You would think that's common sense.
No, it's not common sense to them because they are so, we important now. You know, we get invited to stuff for free, we can bring a guest, you know, we get introduced, they call us the honorable. You know, some people want us to call them Madam President.
5 seconds coming back.
A whole bunch of stuff. So are we back? Thank
Come back
you.
now. Hold on. We're doing the sweep and coming back.
So I love this station too. So we are back.
Hold up.
Are we not back yet? So we're back. I'm so thankful that you're listening. I need for you guys to talk to people. Let them know that I have this show every Friday from 11 to 12 noon, unless I'm at trial, and then I'll have a guest host. But I'm gonna tell it, and my guests will tell it. You know, we're talking about a very serious subject right now, but it's not always gonna be like this. Sometimes we're gonna have fun and talk about fun stuff. But right now, time is of the essence. The world is run by those who show up. There's a big vote on the board on June 22nd, and we need for y'all to exert influence. I'm gonna go to the phones really quickly. Hey, Chris, thank you for listening, watching. What is it that you want to tell, or you want us to tell? Especially in H.I.S.D. Well, yes, that's true, but you also got to know that we've got a legislature that's trying to destroy public education by cutting funding at all levels, and they're trying to direct people to charter schools where they literally take money out of the mouths of our children and put it into the mouths of charter school kids where they spend more money on them And they're also trying to get vouchers where they will literally take our public tax dollars and pay for private school or contribute to private school for a select number of people. So there's a move afoot to undereducate our children at the expense, at our expense, and we're gonna pay for it, and we're gonna pay for private education. You know we're not gonna be in the private schools. So that's what that's about, Chris.
Well, and if I could just add on to what the caller is talking about, in general, a lot of charter schools and private schools do pay teachers less than what you're seeing teachers make in public schools. So in other words, as the caller points out, as we increase the amount of charter schools in Texas and increase the amount of private schools, we are seeing future declines in teacher salaries and teacher benefits.
Well,
Of course.
and this isn't an accident. There is a macro strategy to deprofessionalize teachers. This used to be a profession that people went to college for, and then they had 30-year careers and became master teachers, and they were responsible for bringing up the teachers below them. And now we have these charter schools filled with alternatively certified teachers coming out of Teach for America and other organizations that they may only teach for a few years, and they go to grad school. And they're not concerned with what the arc of salary is to be a career professional teacher. They don't care about what it means to grow 10, 20 years in their profession. They care about getting good scores and moving on to the next thing. And one of those next things is being an administrator in H.I.S.D.
And but they also get part of their college paid for. So
Absolutely.
And
Well,
so it's
and
just a game.
this-
But hold on, I actually want to go. I'm going to get to Mark in a second, but I actually want to go back to Aretha and Sybil because I don't want to just focus on teachers. Yes, we woefully underpay them, but we also woefully underpay the support staff. And I think people don't pay attention to the janitors and the bus drivers, so I'm going to pay attention to them because it is important. Because the reason our kids go to clean schools is because of them. The reason our kids get transferred to Magnets or get bused from Ryan to Cullen is because of bus drivers. The reasons our kids are in schools that are air conditioned or heated is because of the people that repair those. So I'm going to talk about them too because there's a system in place and we need to take care of that system. So I want for Aretha and Sybil to talk about what's going on with them.
Well, with our bus drivers and our cafeteria workers, thank you. It's ridiculous. It is quite ridiculous. We have right now food service employees that's sleeping in their cars along with their kids. And like I said, in the summertime, it just really just horrible because they trying to hustle, trying to find food for their kids, trying to go to the food banks, anywhere they can get a meal for their
Right.
kids.
I'm going to say this.
These
I'm
are
gonna-
tired employees.
And I'm going to keep saying this. These are full-time workers. These are not people who don't want to work. These are people that H.I.S.D is pimping. And Sybil, can you share your story? You came and talked about working for H.I.S.D for 12 years. Tell people how much you make. Tell people how long you've had insurance. Tell them what you told us at the board yesterday, that people tried to pimp you and act like they actually cared about you, but they don't want to give you a raise you need. And for the record, this is what I'm advocating for, and I hope you agree with me, that we give teachers 5% raises, which will not even make us the highest paid teachers in this area. It'll put us second or third. I am advocating for our workers that make less than $25,000, and we literally have workers who are making less than $13,000. I'm advocating that they make at least $12 to $15 an hour. That is what I'm advocating for, because you should not have a full-time job and be making, I guess I'll even say migrant pay, because we disrespect, like, I'm so frustrated, but tell people what you shared with us. And I know it had to be difficult to share that.
No, actually it wasn't. It was just disgusting is what it was. Because if I don't tell people, other people are not going to know. I've been working for a Houston Independent School District for 12 years. When I originally started, I needed a job. I was making $7 an hour. Here, 12 years later, I'm only making $10.90 an hour. Now, my pay stub shows 11 something. That's only because the interim superintendent we get a $19.23 state wage supplement. He decided that he would take all of that money and add it together and add it into our paychecks. So a lot of people thought that they were getting a raise, and I told them, no, you're not getting a raise, this is money you were already getting. But again, you know, for 12 years, that's not even $3 that I've got, making $7 an hour. For the last 10 years, I've not had any health insurance until Aretha Thomas got with the budget people and the HR people and the benefits people and came up with a plan for us to get health insurance. Now I can pay $2.50 a pay period, but that's just for myself, to have health insurance. She also went out and spoke with a lot of vendors that agreed to give us discount services. Well, now the people that are crunching the numbers are saying, hey, you know, y'all don't need that.
And so for 10 years, you didn't have health insurance?
That's right.
For 2 years, you've had health insurance?
That's correct. And
Were you sick those 10 years you didn't have health insurance?
Oh, yes. But I went to work every day because I didn't have a choice. Not only did I not have a choice, but once I got into H.I.S.D food service and I started feeding those kids, and I started seeing all these kids, and I knew what their background was. A lot of these kids are not getting fed every day, and this is the only meal, so it started tugging on my heart. And a lot of people, a lot of our support personnel that work for H.I.S.D, we're not coming there for the money. We actually are committed. We love these kids, and we do our job. And it's just really sad and disgusting that we work for the 7th largest school district in the entire United States, and we're the lowest paid workers on anybody's totem pole.
Exactly. So look, so we've got to go, we're going to go real quick to Mark. Mark, you called in? Yes, Mark, we're great. How are you? Terry, Greer, Abe Savadra, who else? What are the names? The superintendents for the last 12 years? Oh, anyway, it was them. So yeah, I mean, we know the administrators are going to take care of themselves. And do we need to go to commercial now, or do we have time for? So we got to go to commercial. We have 1 minute. So
Jolanda, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You know, at the budget workshop, when you were fighting for these folks, you asked the administration how many. You wanted to know how many folks working for HISD weren't making a living wage, weren't making $15 an hour. Did you get an answer?
no. Anyway, well, y'all, I'm like really pushing. I'm really trying. And when I tell you, my colleagues try to shut me down. They try to shut me down, but I refuse to let them shut me down. And I've told them, if you try to stifle my First Amendment rights, like you stifle the public's, I shut them out, I will sue you. I will sue you in your individual capacity, and I will sue you as a board member, because I'm not going to play. All right? I'm fighting for the least, the last, the lost. So we got to go to commercial. We'll be back, and then we're going to have one more section. So please come back. Please share. Please tell everybody what you're learning. So now this is my Facebook Live, so anybody wants to say anything, do that. And I got to find a plug. Somebody got a plug? Oh, you got a So, y'all know what? We're going to have this some more, because this is more than our show.
You can give it to me.
This is like probably part 12.
Yes.
We need to have like 12 parts, right?
Well, I think we need to start to have an ongoing dialogue between board members and the community and educators. I think that board members should be meeting with educators in their districts on a regular basis. Because when you watch these board meetings and you hear board members ask questions about grad lab programs, after school programs, as a teacher watching that, I'm thinking, you know, if board members would reach out